Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I thought that we would do another game collection video. So the last game collection video ended up being quite popular, people liked it, and quite a few people were asking for a few more videos. So I figured we would do another genre of game, and somebody actually requested Souls-likes, so we're doing Souls-likes today. I actually don't have a lot of Souls-like titles that aren't from software as physical copies, so unfortunately I think we're just gonna have to stick to from software titles for now, and then we can always come back to other Souls-like on another video. So yeah, let's just get right into the video here. I'm going to start with the first game, and these are going to be in release order of when they came out, and just so happens that it's the order that I played them in as well. So yeah, let's get into it. So first game that I have here is Demon Souls for the PlayStation 3. So, Demon Souls. I really didn't like this game when it first came out. It was my first Souls title. I'd never played one before, and I just found it really hard to get into. I just didn't get the gameplay. I thought it was just really hard, frustrating. I didn't understand really what the big deal was. Everybody was talking about it at the time. It was one of those games that was very niche. Quite a few people didn't like it, but there was like a very hardcore group of people that were like singing its praises. So that's why I got it. And yeah, the first time through, just didn't really like it. I think I gave up like just after like the second boss of the first hub area. I just wasn't feeling it. And then I remember going back to it when Dark Souls was coming out, and Dark Souls wasn't released yet, but I remember thinking, oh, Dark Souls, I'm sure that I have a game that's like the prequel to that, let's go back and play it. So I went back and played it, and for some reason, I don't know why, maybe it was because I was a bit older, a little bit more open to video games. It just clicked in my brain the second time. I just really enjoyed it the second time through. I think that this game is quite unique compared to other Souls titles in that the world setting is a bit different. It's not open world, it's a hub based game, so you choose your zone that you want to go to, and then that zone has got like 3 bosses in it, and that's how the game works. You've got certain hubs, you load into them, beat all the bosses, get the demon soul that's at the end, and then it will open up different areas for you to progress through as you get more demon souls. I really like the bosses in this game a lot. I think that they're very unique compared to a lot of the other Souls titles. A lot of people don't like them because they're more gimmicky, but I really like that. I think that that's really cool. I love, you'll have to forgive me because I can't remember most of the names of the bosses, but Maiden Astraea, she's a standout for being just an unconventional boss, not something that is a difficult fight at all, but it has a lot of feeling put into it, and it really made me like think, oh my god, I feel like I'm such a bad guy for, you know, doing this. And another one that stands out to me is the giant flying manta ray. I completely forgot what it's called. I knew what it was called before I started recording this, and now I forgot what it's called. And yeah, I love that boss, and it is a gimmick fight. At the end of the day, it's a gimmick fight, but I love it. I love bosses like that. They're very memorable for me. This game has got a very dreamlike, ethereal vibe to it. It's very unusual. It doesn't explain anything pretty much, and it's quite it's got quite a horror theme as well in one of the hubs, and I love horror themes in games, so I was super into that. So yeah, if you haven't played this one but you've played other Dark Souls games, maybe give it a go or try out the remake. But I'll talk about the remake a little bit later on. I'll just read you a little thing from the back here as well. Deep beneath the Nexus, the Old One has awakened. A mighty demon horde pours into Bloodborne, devouring the souls of men. Called upon by a maiden in black, you go forth to lift the curse. And it's also got a little review sort of thing here that says, brutally challenging and utterly engrossing, this innovative role-playing game is one of the year's best. And that's from GameSpot. So yeah, Demon Souls. Let's move on to the next title in the series. And this title is, of course, a very, very popular one. Dark Souls. I have a horrible case for this one, I do apologise. I hate these essential cases, they are so ugly. But yeah, this is Dark Souls, the Prepare to Die edition. So I actually replaced my original Dark Souls copy with this one because it came with all of the DLC. I think this one comes with all of the DLC. Yes, it does. It does come with the DLC. And I'm one of those people, I used to be one of those people where if there was DLC for a game, I didn't used to like putting my card information into like PlayStation Network or whatever to buy things, because I don't know, I was just scared of doing that. So I actually sold the original Demon Souls when the DLC came out and bought this one. Because I didn't want to buy the DLC separately. Yeah, I'm stupid. But yeah, Dark Souls 1, very, very iconic game. And this is really what started the craze of the Souls series. This is the one that really catapulted FromSoft into the stratosphere of being a very, very popular game studio that makes very good titles, and it's for good reason. It's a very, very good game, you know. I don't think it's the best in the series, but it is up there as being one of the best, and I think it improved a lot of things from the first Demon Souls title. It has a big open world. It no longer is hub based. So when you start the game, you can literally travel from one area to the next and then all the way back again with like different shortcuts. And I think that was really the revolution that came with this game, was just the level design and the shortcuts getting you back to where you've been. It was just like mind-blowing. The first time that I ever made it back to Violent Shrine, after I'd been all the way around and I'd like defeated the Taurus demon and, you know, and I was going towards the gargoyles, defeated the gargoyles, and then there's a shortcut back to Violent, and I was like, whoa, this is just unreal. Like, I never played a game where it was just like so interconnected like that. And I think that this game is very, very strong for that. The bosses are great in this one. They are a lot less gimmicky than Demon Souls, so I think that it does lose a little bit of its uniqueness in that aspect. Like, a lot of the bosses are not really super memorable. The most memorable ones for me are Ornstein and Smough. That was the first boss that I ever remember really struggling with. Like, I just could not beat them. I like for hours and hours. I was stuck on that boss. So yeah, definitely a step up in difficulty in my opinion from Demon's Souls. I think that the game sort of does lose its fire a little bit towards the end of the game, during like the last third, when you've got to go through like the demon ruins and you've got like the copy pasted enemies that are in the lava and things. It kind of falls off a little bit. I think that it would have benefited from maybe just being a little bit shorter in length and just cutting that whole area out. I think that would have probably been more beneficial. But yeah, the DLC is also really good. It's really strong. Artorias is, I think, one of the best fights in the Souls series. He's very memorable. But we do get to a problem with Artorias a little bit later on in the series, and I'll explain that a little bit more when we get to the next few games. But yeah, really strong title. I really like this one. I think it's great. Yeah, pretty much an improvement in everything from Demon's Souls gameplay wise. Like, it plays better, feels better, just loses a little bit of heart for me, but you know, otherwise it's incredible. I'll read you a bit of the back again. Prepare to die again. The darkness continues with all new content, new areas to explore, new enemies to fear, new weaponry to survive, and new PvP matchmaking systems to play online. And IGN called it the most absorbing experience in gaming. So, you know, there we have it. Demon's Souls. Let me get the next game. Now, you'll have to forgive me for this one, because I do not actually have a copy of Dark Souls 2 anymore. I actually sold my copy of Dark Souls 2. I traded it in for a bunch of other games at the time. I was not too impressed with it. I'll explain why. So, whilst I'm talking about Dark Souls 2, I will just use Dark Souls Remastered box. So, just pretend that this is Dark Souls 2 and not Dark Souls Remastered, because I don't have, as I said, a physical copy of Dark Souls 2 anymore. And I was really excited for Dark Souls 2 when it was coming out, because I really enjoyed Dark Souls 1 and I thought that it would be an improvement on pretty much every front, so I was very excited. Turns out that it wasn't as good as Dark Souls 1. I'm not a Dark Souls 2 hater, by the way. I'm not one of those people that just jumps on the bandwagon just because everybody else hates it. I think there are good things in the game, genuinely. I think I love the armor sets. The armor sets look amazing. I like the look of the game. The art design is really nice. And the NPCs are actually really like well voiced, and they're interesting characters, I think, and the storyline's interesting too. It's just the gameplay is kind of jank compared to, you know, Dark Souls 1 was a little bit jank, but Dark Souls 2 feels like really jank sometimes for seemingly no reason. I feel like a lot of the bosses are quite boring in Dark Souls 2, which is a shame because, you know, the bosses that were in Dark Souls 1 were really unique and interesting, and same with Demon Souls. And then Dark Souls 2 comes around and it's sort of just really boring knights. You know, they love putting loads of ads in the room with the bosses, so you've got the boss and you've got like a million little guys around, and it's just a pain to deal with, and it's just not fun. It's just literally not fun. It feels like they were trying to make the game hard just for the sake of it, not for, you know, the challenge of overcoming it. It was just, how can we make this boss fight really, really hard for no reason, which is just annoying. But in fairness, I do need to revisit Dark Souls 2 because I have never actually played Scholar of the First Sin. So I can't make a verdict on how I feel on that version because I haven't played it. So I'll probably play that on PC at some point because I've heard that it is performed a lot better on PC than on console, so I'll probably go for that. It's worth saying that all of the original Souls titles I played on PS3, and they don't perform very well on the original copies. And Dark Souls 2 is not an exception, it's questionable. I think honestly Dark Souls was worse in the performance category, but I'm getting crazy here, so I can't read you the back because it's not Dark Souls 2, it's Dark Souls Remastered. But yeah, that's my opinion on Dark Souls 2, and I'm going to talk about my favourite Souls game next, so here we go. And this is, of course, this is Bloodborne. And we have the really, really pretty collector's edition, so it's very nice. Bloodborne, my favourite Souls game. My hype for this game when it was announced and when I saw the first trailer for it, and I was keeping up with all of the rumours at the time about this new game that FromSoft were doing, and it was called Project Beast, and it was going to be like werewolves and it was going to be like horror themed, and oh my goodness, my hype was unreal. And I honestly, after Dark Souls 2, I was just like, it's not going to live up to expectations, it's just not going to be as good as the others, but I can't help but get excited. And then I played it, and oh my goodness, when this game came out, I was in university at the time, so I had a lot of free time outside of, you know, classes, and I would wake up I had the worst sleep schedule. I would wake up at 6 p.m. and then I would play it until like 6 a.m. like just all through the night, because that was like the quietest time for me and I could really get immersed into the game. And honestly, this is one of the best gaming experiences that I've ever had in my entire life. It really is. It's just, in my opinion, this is one of the best games of all time. I don't even know how to begin describing it, but everything about it I love. I love the world setting. I love the, you know, Victorian, very gothic London sort of look to it. The werewolves and vampires and horror themed vibe is just completely my whole thing. I love that kind of thing so much. So I was just so into this just the entire time. The bosses are so memorable in this game. The gameplay is just so different compared to Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 and Demon Souls. It's a more aggressive style. You know, you don't have swords and shields anymore. You've just got you and your weapon, and you can gain health back off enemies when you hit them within a certain time. The rally mechanic, it just adds so much to the game. It's unreal. The music, the voice acting, everything is like just such high quality in this game. And I think because it was an exclusive, because Sony had their own Japan studio co-create this game, I think that they just had that super AAA big budget, like they put everything into this, and it's just such high quality. And I know that some people think that Bloodborne is one of the shorter, more linear titles, and it is a shorter game, and it certainly doesn't have as many weapons or armor sets or anything, but for me it's so tight, and it really is quality over quantity in this game. It's just, this is a masterpiece in my opinion, in my eyes. This is a masterpiece. I love this game. And I've got the collector's edition, which comes with a really nice steelbook case. It has a really nice case. And it also comes with a little art book as well. And it's not like a proper art book or anything, but it's got some nice concept images in there of, you know, bosses and enemies. Let me see if I can find a cool NPC or something. Some kind of I want to find the hunter drip, you know? Like I just love, my absolute favourite visual style is Bloodborne, and the main character like design, here we go. The main character design is just like unreal. Like, this is the best that it's ever been. This is the best it's ever been, and it's iconic. I don't think that they can just, how are they supposed to beat that? Like, it's just strong. It's so strong. And I know that I'm talking a lot about this game, but I'm just really excited about it. And like, just like, look at the weapons. Look at the weapons in this game. Like, you're kidding. This is a swaggy game. Like, you want to feel like the coolest dude of all time. This is the game. Like, the fashion is unbelievable in this game. But yeah, everything about this game is amazing. The music, the characters, the story. I don't want to really spoil the story because it goes places that are very interesting. The bosses, the gameplay, everything about it. It's just chef's kiss. Okay, we have to move on to the next game eventually, so here we go. Next game. Dark Souls 3. Now, a lot of people's favourite Souls game actually is Dark Souls 3. People that I know, friends and, you know, people that I know online from Twitch and, you know, different places, they like this game a lot, and I really like it as well. I think it's great. I think it's a great game. I do think it is a little bit creatively bankrupt in that it really is just a best of Souls game. Like, it is just every other Souls game, but called Dark Souls 3. But everything in this game we've seen before in other Souls titles. And I realise it's supposed to be like a sequel to Dark Souls 1. Like, I get that, I understand, but like, there are some areas that are just straight off, like, just from other games. Like, there's I don't know what it's called, but in this game there's a jail section, and that is just straight from Demon Souls. They even have like the same enemy types and everything in there, which is fine, but it's just like, I've seen that before. It's not a surprise, you know what I mean? And this game was where the epidemic started of FromSoft making their bosses just reskins of Artorias. And what I mean by that is, since this game came out, and because I'm assuming because of Bloodborne's success, Bloodborne being a really, really fast, aggressive form of combat, people love that so much that they decided to speed up Dark Souls as well. So Dark Souls 3 is very, very fast compared to Dark Souls 1 and 2, which is fine, you know, they don't all need to be the same. That's absolutely fine, I'm happy with that. I think this game has got great combat, I think it's great fun. But they kind of go a little bit over the top with it, and every sort of humanoid boss just feels like Artorias again, and yeah, it's just a little bit like boring after a while. Like, there's only so many times that I can fight a boss and it's doing flips and, you know, it's doing Artorias things, and I'm like, okay, like, I've seen this like a billion times. It gets a little bit boring for me, so that's really my only complaint. There are some bosses in this game that I think are really, really strong. I love the Nameless King, the one where it's got the big dragon, and then you fight him on dragon back first, and then after you defeat the dragon he gets off the dragon, and then you fight him one-on-one, and he isn't flipping all over the place either. He's like quite he's quite a Dark Souls 1 style boss, and I like that. So there are like some standouts, but there are also a lot of bosses that are just very bland. It doesn't have as much variety, I think, is what I'm trying to say. But this game is very highly replayable. I think this game is a lot more replayable than a lot of the other Souls games, because you've got such a sheer variety of weapons and just different builds that you can do. The game is very long. I think this is the longest game that they've made so far, so there's a lot to do. It's a gorgeous game as well, you know. I think they used the same engine as Bloodborne, so it feels very, very, very pretty to look at. The music's great, but it's not as memorable as Bloodborne in my opinion. This is really where the music just started to get a little bit samey. And yeah, but saying that, I'm not hating on this game. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's a great game. But it lost a lot of what made Souls games unique, because in and of itself, it is not a unique title in the Souls series. It is, in my opinion, a best of FromSoft game. It is the, fan service Dark Souls game. Here's what you liked about other Souls games. Here it is, all in one package, and it will be like nostalgia going through it, and that's great for a lot of people, but I would prefer something a little bit more unique just for me. I'll read you off the back. I couldn't read you anything off Bloodborne because it doesn't actually have much on the back because it's a collector's edition. Embrace the darkness. As fires fade and the world falls into ruin, journey into a universe filled with more colossal enemies and environments. Delve into a world of epic atmosphere and darkness through the series' hallmark, rewarding gameplay and immersive graphics. Now only embers remain. So yeah, they were really leaning into the fact that this series has become exceedingly popular at this point, so can't really blame them for that. But yeah, let's get on to the next title in the series, and this one might be somewhat controversial. Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice. So, Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice. This was sort of a big change for the series. There really wasn't another game like this. They decided to go for something completely different, and I'm really glad that they did that because it is super unique. The gameplay is very different. It's not like other Souls titles. You don't choose your build. You do not get to choose what weapon to use. It's a lot more linear style. It's got more of a focus on story and characters in this game. However, and this is my controversial opinion, I don't like it. I don't like Sekiro, and the reason why I don't like it is because I'm just gonna be completely honest. I don't like parrying. I don't like parrying in Souls games. And this game is parry or die. That's how this game is. It's just there's one way of playing this game, and the game demands that you play it the way that it wants to be played. You can't go into this game trying to play it like a Souls title, which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, it just didn't click. I just don't like the parry style of gameplay. I found this game to be like the hardest Souls game for me, and I think it is just because I suck. I just suck at parrying. I don't find it to be a rewarding style of play for me. There's just, yeah, I don't really like it. Like, I think that the story and the characters are interesting. I like the world setting, like the Japanese world setting is really, really nice. And I think that Sekiro is a really cool dude. But, yeah, I just don't like the gameplay, and that just, yeah, if I don't like the gameplay, then, yeah. So, I remember I beat this game, and I replayed it once through to see if there was like a different ending, and there are different endings, and other than that I haven't ever gone back to it because I just don't like the style of gameplay that it offers, and that's absolutely fine. It isn't for everybody, and it definitely wasn't for me. So I'll read you a little bit of the back. Take revenge, restore your honor, kill ingeniously, carve your own clever path to vengeance as you come face to face with larger-than-life foes in From Software's dark and twisted adventure set in feudal Japan. Unleash an arsenal of deadly prosthetic tools and ninja abilities while blending stealth, vertical traversal, and visceral combat. Survive a relentless and bloody confrontation on a quest to restore Souls. This is the Demon Souls remake. And I really, really like the remake. So, Demon Souls remake, this is actually the first game in the Soul series lineup that is not created by FromSoft. So this was actually made by Bluepoint Games, and it is a full remake from the ground up of the original Demon Souls, and it is very, very, very respectful. It's a one-to-one remake. They didn't change anything about it, so the level design, the bosses, the just everything that the game offers is exactly the same as it was in the original, and I think that that's a really good idea. A few things they changed. They made the gameplay more responsive. It's running at 60 frames now instead of however many terrible frames it was in the original, like 10 frames per second sometimes. Honestly, it was so bad in the original. You've got like quality of life features now. You can roll in more directions. It used to be just like forward, back, left and right, but you can go all around now. It feels a lot nicer to play in general. It's a really, really nice feeling game, and it is honestly, like, I know that graphics don't matter much, but this game is literally one of the most gorgeous games I've ever seen in my entire life. It is outstandingly gorgeous. I think that this is still, and this came out close to the PS5's launch as well, it is still one of the nicest looking games I've ever seen. It's like outstandingly gorgeous, this game. Like, you can see on the screenshots on the back, like, what is happening. Like, it's just like unbelievably gorgeous, this game. There are a few things I don't like about it. So I've spoken about Demon Souls, and so I won't go into too much detail because we've already spoken about it. But I don't like the music, and I know that that's like a really stupid thing for me to not like, but the music in the original, it's kind of silly. It's kind of like really cheesy, and it's MIDI, so it's got like really ridiculous like MIDI trumpets and things, but that's part of the charm of that game, because it is such a strange game and it is such a dreamlike, ethereal, weird world. I feel like the music really fit that setting. The music in this is like bombastic, epic. Like, they went with a full orchestra. I think it was Sony's orchestra that did it, and it was just like too much. Like, it's way too much, and all of the music just doesn't even resemble the original music anymore, and like, it's annoying that there isn't even an option to switch back to original soundtrack. That's like my biggest complaint with this game, honestly. It's just the music, which I know is really, really silly because it's like, who cares? But like, I care about the music. And a few of the enemy designs are a little bit worse, but like, whatever, I don't really care that much about that. A lot of the bosses to me look a million times better, so it's a I'll take that. But yeah, I love Demon Souls Remake. I think it's amazing. So yeah, I'll read you an excerpt off the back. Discover where the journey began. Master the arts of sorcery and war. Become the slayer of demons. Experience the original brutal challenge, completely remade from the ground up, presented in stunning visual quality, with enhanced performance. This is the world of Bloodborne as you've never seen it before. They were not kidding. It is so incredible. So, the next game in the series that I'm going to talk about is show you physically. So yeah, I'm sorry guys, I don't have anything to tap on and read, but I figured I could talk a little bit about Elden Ring even though I don't have the physical copy. And I really regret not getting the physical copy, but the reason why was because I originally pre-ordered it on, I think, Amazon, and they had a stock issue where the game wasn't going to be delivered on release day. It was going to be delivered the day after release, and I know that's really, really pathetic, but I was like, I can't wait an extra day to play Elden Ring. I booked a week off work so I could play Elden Ring. Like, I need it on release day. So I cancelled my pre-order with Amazon and I bought it on the PlayStation 5 store, and I just digitally downloaded it to my PS5. So I regret doing it now because it's like I don't have the physical copy of it, and I'm probably gonna have to buy the physical copy now at some point and waste money on it. But you know, I'm just too impatient. I just couldn't wait that extra one day to play Elden Ring. But yeah, Elden Ring, in my opinion, is it's almost a masterpiece for me. I still think that Bloodborne is my favourite, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, really? Like, you like Bloodborne more than Elden Ring? And I think Bloodborne is just that perfect concoction for me. Like, it's not going to be able to be beaten, not even by FromSoft themselves. But Elden Ring is an incredible title, it really is. It's just, the open world is so massive, so vast, there's so much to do and see, there's so many secrets. It is just such a joy to explore that world setting, and just all of the different enemies, creatures, like all the little dungeons and caves and everything that you can find, landmarks. Like, you'll see something in the distance that looks interesting and you'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go there and see what's going on there, that looks interesting. And you know, it does that sort of Breath of the Wild-esque thing where it's like, you see that point, you can go there, so you know, that kind of thing. And it's just incredible. It's incredible to play. The bosses are great, in my opinion. All the mainline bosses, they're all very unique from one another. They have a variety in what they look like. They're not just Artorias clones this time, thank goodness. And they're all a decent challenge. The major thing for me that I really loved in this game was the magic system. Never been big into magic in the Souls games. The only Souls game that I really used a lot of magic in was in Demon Souls, because in Demon Souls magic is pretty good, but in every other Souls game magic is not really that good. In Elden Ring, magic is really good, in my opinion. I think it's really, really great. And the standout area for me was the magic school, you know, the Academy of Raya Lucaria, I think is how you say it. It's just, that is the tippy top for me of standout memories. There are two standout memories for me, and it is going to the Academy for the first time. You hear the kind of magical music start playing. It's almost like Hogwarts, and the enemies are so weird and wonderful, and it's just such a well-designed area to explore. There's loads of shortcuts, there's like just tons to see and do, and all the bosses in there are great as well. It's just like, that's my favourite. And then another standout for me is when I first used one of the lifts to go down, and it was the first time I ever used one was where you first meet Blythe, who is my beloved husband Blythe. I'm like obsessed with Blythe. I've got such a crush on him. He is just Guts from Berserk, but in wolf form, and I just adore him. He's amazing. My favourite character in Elden Ring. And it's in the forest where he is. There's a lift nearby, and you go down, and I'm like, whoa, this lift is going down like forever. Where is this taking me? And then you just see the sky and just all of the stars that light it up, and it's like just the most gorgeous area that I've ever seen. And oh my goodness, I was just blown away by that. I don't think I've been blown away by like that since Bloodborne. So I was just like, wow, it's just such a great experience. So yeah, Elden Ring is one of my favorites for sure. I think that my only complaint with Elden Ring is honestly the world is too big, and I know that's a stupid complaint, but I think that there's a lot of copy paste shenanigans going on. A lot of the dungeons that you can find, you know, the catacombs and things like that, they are very, very samey, and a lot of them are filled with the same boss type. It gets a little bit boring after a while, a little bit old, and it's like, oh, here's this boss again, but now there's two of them. It's like, okay, here's this boss again, but now there's loads of little enemies around it. It's like, I don't want to do that, like that's boring, but okay. That's really my only complaint. I wish they would have just cut out a lot of that content. I think it would have been stronger if they just cut out a lot of the like padding. It felt like padding. So yeah, that is all the Souls titles that I have played, and Elden Ring Night Rain is currently the most recent title. I personally am not interested in Night Rain. It's not my gameplay style. I don't play these games online. I don't like to play with other people, so it's just not my vibe. And then the next From Software title that's coming out for the Switch 2, it looks very, very Bloodborne, but again, it is the Night Rain thing of being online and, you know, PvPvE, and I just don't care about that. So I'm just really waiting for the next Souls game to come out that is like, you know, the classic style of Souls titles. I'm looking forward to that very much. So yeah, my voice has slowly been degrading over the course of this video, so thank you for hanging out with me, and yeah, I will see you on the next video, so look forward to that. I hope that you've enjoyed this today, and I will see you all next time. Bye friends, bye.